She trusted him with her heart, but he broke into her mind. After secretly reading her private diary for the third time, he used her most vulnerable thoughts to publicly humiliate her in front of their children. Now she's packing up, filing for divorce, and exposing the twisted truth behind their perfect marriage. I'm trying to stay focused here, but my edibles have kicked in, and I need advice. I have kept a diary since I was 10. It is my form of therapy, and I don't police my thoughts. I have never let anyone read my diary. My husband and I started dating over a decade ago. One day, a couple of months in, he was over at my apartment, and I had hopped in the shower. When I came out, he was sitting on the bed shell-shocked. He said he read my journal, which was mostly about my life as a newly single woman. He told me it really stung to read all that. But wait, hold on. How'd you find it? He said he was looking for matches. He couldn't tell me why he kept reading even after he knew what it was. But his apology was sincere, and I forgave him. Not too long after that, things got messy. He started getting either very sad or very angry while referring to things he read. His feelings were so intense that I started apologizing for my thoughts. Anyway, we got married. A decade later, I was thinking of a divorce and wrote a ton to process my thoughts about some sensitive topics. Again, he stumbled upon my journal and read it all. I was pissed, but he convinced me that he would never do it again. Besides, he was really hurt by the things I wrote, and I felt bad. I let it go, but he started getting sad or angry again thinking about what he had read. Once more, the intensity of his feelings led me to apologize for my thoughts. Now here we are, married with kids, setting up Scrabble on a Friday night. He went to find a piece of paper and came back quiet and distracted. I asked if everything was okay. He looked at me sharply and told me that he just read my journal. I tensed, thinking of how I recently tackled some tough feelings related to our different ethnic and religious backgrounds. I wrote things that would have been hurtful to read, and I was mortified knowing that he did read them, but I was also annoyed. Wait, you read my journal again? He blamed me for leaving it out and accused me of being a bad person for what I wrote, but honestly I wasn't listening to him anymore. I just wanted to know why we were dealing with this again. It's pretty fucking basic knowledge that one shouldn't read other people's diaries, right? But look at him, forcing his way into my brain and shaming me for what he saw. I surprised myself by slamming my hand on the table. A third time? We were both hurt, but he was accusing me of overreacting while minimizing and deflecting from his behavior. He called me overly emotional when I cried over how violated I felt. This feels so wrong, like I committed a thought crime. So am I the asshole for insisting he's 100% wrong? I'm so mad, but I am doubting whether my reaction was proportional to what he did. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being terrible, what would you rate someone reading your journal? And would you apologize for the things you wrote? Edit. Thank you all for your comments. I am overwhelmed. For those suggesting therapy, I've been in it for a long time, and I credit it for listening to the little voice in my head instead of ignoring it. Therapy gave me the insight to see what he was doing in real time. But to those saying you're the asshole and everyone sucks here, all I can say is that this type of behavior has been normalized so much for me, and I have been gaslit for so long, that I automatically convinced myself it wasn't that bad. I feel like I'm emerging from the upside down, and I have to relearn basic social norms. You have no idea how sad all of this makes me. Update. We talked today, and he continued to minimize what he did and kept steering the conversation to how hurt he was reading what I wrote. I kept asking him if I shared those things willingly with him. When he said no, I told him that he can then deal with the consequences of his own actions by himself. I kept stressing to him what a big violation it was and that I needed space to think. I guess he's been stewing about it for the last few hours because tonight he started to yell at me in front of our kids and angrily tell them about what I wrote. He literally told them that I don't like that they are from his culture. Fuck man, why are you hurting them? To hurt me. I was pleading with him to stop and trying to cover his mouth. The kids were shrieking and sobbing, and he was yelling and wild-eyed. The chaos of tonight just broke me. I had flashbacks of my childhood, screaming and crying on a stairwell watching my dad go after my mom. Long ago, I had promised that I would never put my kids through something like that. I tried to get them out of the house since he wasn't stopping, but we only got as far as my car where the three of us sat crying while I kept apologizing to them and trying to reassure them. God, how did I get to this point? Update. I will keep the update itself brief. The kids and I are safe, and I am divorcing my husband. The incident that I posted about was so jarring that I could no longer downplay the abuse. I understood then that it would be so much worse for my kids to grow up in a household like that than to grow up with divorced parents. I did want to take this opportunity to talk to the people who seemed flabbergasted that I had not left him earlier. I know Reddit can be cruel sometimes, but to shame someone for staying in an abusive relationship is just so ignorant. A person stays with an abuser for a myriad of reasons. Fear, shame, mental health issues, lack of resources, lack of support, lack of money, the partner's coercive control, etc. Please educate yourself on abusive relationships before writing judgmental comments. In my case, I stayed because he was so good at manipulating and gaslighting, at sowing doubt and confusion, that I started taking notes during arguments because I felt like I was going crazy. He would say things and then deny up and down that he said them. He would tell me that I misinterpreted his words or that I had a bad memory or that I had anger issues. Meanwhile, he was the one punching at walls, breaking things, lying, and following me from room to room as I was trying to get away from him. After years and years of this, I left only when I saw how much staying would hurt my kids. To those in emotionally abusive relationships like mine, I want you to know that I see you. This is real abuse, even if it doesn't leave physical scars. New updates. In May 2022, I took a break from my marriage because my husband's verbal abuse was escalating. He moved out for a few weeks. Some of the things that he said during our last fight, but had said many times before, were that I'm a failure, no one likes me, and I'm socially awkward. I have a graduate degree, I make good money, and I have friends, but I still believed him. During our separation, I signed up for a dating site. This was not to date or hook up with anyone, and I did not meet up or talk with anyone. It was only to see if I was really as undesirable as he made me out to be. He was wrong, I felt better about myself, and I deleted my account. Like Ross from Friends, I thought this was okay since we were on a break. I recognized that I should have set ground rules with my husband during the break, and I apologized to him about that. We tried to work on our marriage, but, as those who read my other posts know, I am divorcing him. This time during our separation, we set ground rules. One of them, at his request, was that we refrain from dating sites and dating in general until the divorce is finalized. We both agreed. 2 days ago, I got a bank notification about some weird charges. When I looked into it, I saw that he had joined 2 dating apps and mistakenly charged our joint account. I took a screenshot and sent it to him without comment. He responded that it was okay for him to do that because I did it in the past. When I mentioned that we discussed and agreed to not do that, he said, "I'm just doing what you did." I said he was the one who specifically asked that we not join sites until the divorce was finalized, but again, he said that I did it last time, so it's okay that he did it. He's now acting overly friendly so that I will let this issue go, but I feel deceived and can't go back to trying to be amicable with him. I decided to limit our conversations to our mediation sessions, but he continues to insist he did nothing wrong and is accusing me of withdrawing, like I always do, and of making the divorce contentious. Am I the asshole for being bothered by what he did? I don't trust him, which makes me want to pull away, but maybe he's right that I don't know how to respond in a healthy way. He always accuses me of overreacting to things or of having unhealthy emotional responses. So if someone could please tell me what the healthy way to respond to this would be, I'm all ears. The other side. Several months ago, I turned to Reddit because I knew something was wrong in my marriage, but I needed an outside perspective to tell me how wrong. I was the proverbial frog in boiling water. Since then, I've asked myself repeatedly why I didn't leave earlier. Then I remembered that I did try to end things a couple of months after we started dating. He was love-bombing me, and I felt smothered. When I told him that I wanted space, he was devastated. I see now that that was the turning point. I prioritized his feelings over mine. I gave him the benefit of every doubt. I convinced myself that the red flags I was seeing were aberrations. It hurts thinking about how much precious time I wasted on him. Here's my update, then. I moved into my new place 2 days ago, our home closed escrow, and the details of our divorce are finalized. These past few months were a unique kind of hell, but I am now bursting with hope and happiness. I am finally free of him.